sheeple, lazy and evil. For years I've watched y'all allow Donald Trump turn you to crazy people. Where's that freedom eagle when you...
Welcome to 3-Count Commentaries. Today, we're going to talk about CM Punk when he made a comment saying that there are no more casual wrestling fans. Or at least he doesn't think so. So where did this come from? This comes from a podcast that he did. He's doing a lot of talking these days, that's CM Punk. And he's talking about AEW as usual. I think this is the post-show media scrum. And here's what he says. I want to read the transcription from, I believe this is Wrestling Inc. And yes, it is. He says, I don't know if everybody who was a WWE fan came over here specifically just to watch me, but I recognize in front of an AEW audience is an audience that I used to wrestle in front of prior to coming to WWE. They're wrestling fans, and I will never understand the criticism of appealing to your base. If this is our base, give them what they want and everyone's happy. Now, I understand building a business. People talk about trying to get casuals here. I don't think there's casual wrestling fans anymore. My opinion, maybe I'm wrong, and somebody at TNT is going to get mad because I'm saying this and am of this opinion, but our fans are wrestling fans, and we give them wrestling. All right, now that last sentence, I support. I support that you give wrestling fans wrestling, you give football fans football, you give, people who are fans of Captain America, you give them Captain America. I don't have a problem with that. The issue here is he says, I don't think there's casual wrestling fans anymore. And that made me think. I like when I stumble across things that make me think. And I said to myself, what would we define a casual wrestling fan as? Now, to be quite honest, is he telling the truth? No, he's not. It's false. There are casual wrestling fans, and everybody knows at least some casual wrestling fans. Casual wrestling fans are more likely to know who John Cena is and have nobody. I don't know who the rest of these guys are, but I know who John Cena is. I don't know, stuff that Hulk Hogan does. People who occasionally watch a show here and there. They don't watch Raw every single week. They don't do that. They may peek here and there. If they see something online, they'll watch that. They're the peekers. They come in, they watch here and there, and then they step out. They watch the Royal Rumble. They might watch WrestleMania. If something else is big is going on, they may check that out. But that's it. They're not hardcore every single week like clockwork. They're not sitting in front of the TV at 7:57 waiting for the show to start. That's not what they are. They may turn in at 8:15, watch 5 or 10 minutes of it, and then change the channel or whatever. Those people exist, right? Those people. There's a lot of those people. I would think that AEW and WWE have roughly the same audience. And I say roughly, because I believe that most of the people who are watching AEW also watch WWE. The AEW's difference is going to be getting more of WWE's audience. That's the only way for them to grow. Trying to make new fans, very difficult, because they run storylines that's based off of things that happened 10, 15 years ago. You can't bring people in off stories based off that happened 10, 15 years ago. That was the reason why the Marvel Universe didn't start with, the Avengers. This is a comic book movie. This is for comic book fans. And this is where I kind of break with a lot of the other traditional comic book fandom, where they like, all these origin stories. We've already seen this stuff. Just follow the comic books. I'm like, no. The average person does not read comic books. You have to hold their hand and guide them through the universe. You have to introduce them to Iron Man. Sure, they're going to change his origin a little bit. They're not going to use the Vietnam War. Disney is not going to show that Iron Man is a drunk. So you're going to have to do different things around it. You're going to have to hold their hand and guide them through the universe. Guide them to every member of the Avengers. If you just drop the Avengers on them and just say, this is the team, everyone's going to look and be like, I don't know 90% of these guys. You have to understand, average person doesn't know who Captain America is, doesn't know who Iron Man is by the time the Avengers start. They know Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is always everywhere. Have no idea who Captain America is. There's never been a movie before, except for in the 90s, and that movie was a flop. Everyone saw the X-Men, but they're not in this movie. Iron Man, people still think Iron Man was a robot. They don't know Iron Man exists. So AEW has that same problem, where hardcore wrestling fans try to get really, really, really excited about Mount Rushmore, the team up of uh, Kevin Owens or Kevin Steen and Adam Cole and the Young Bucks, and everybody's kind of like, if you didn't watch that shit, you don't know anything about it. So the average person is going to be like, why are they friends? Oh, they were friends 10 years ago. It's like, oh, well, okay. And they're not as excited about it as you are, because you are a hardcore wrestling nerd who knows all about that stuff. And Vince has been banking on that for a long time. I think that a lot of the hardcore historian types, they think Vince went and brought in a guy like Roddy Piper to capture the Portland audience or something like that. It's like, no, he's banking on a lot of people not really knowing who Roddy Piper is, and him being the introduction of Roddy Piper to the mainstream. And he did this quite a bit. This is why he changes people around so much. He did it to the Junkyard Dog. Junkyard Dog, a big guy, big, personality in Louisiana and in the Mid-South area, but, never worked Madison Square Garden before. So we gotta, we're going to put our own little spin on it and push him into the mainstream. But WWE lives for the casual wrestling fan. That's why they play to the lowest common denominator. A lot of people don't understand that. They always get very mad at this. They're like, oh, why do they show 100 recaps per episode? Because they play recaps just in case you didn't watch last week, and just in case this is your first time watching the show. Believe it or not, that works. Because you pick up an old comic book, right? I like using the comic book thing. You pick up an old comic book, because the old comic books were one and done. You don't really need a recap. You don't really need one. But there's going to be some recap panels in there, where if you pick it up and you're going to be reading through, and it's going to be like the words, and there's like a star. Then the editor is going to tell you, see issue 26 to fully explain this. And so if you're picking up this book for the first time, there's still something there that's going to tell you, hey, you can go pick up this book, number 26, if you're interested in this storyline, if you're interested in seeing what happened before this issue took place. This is a direct successor to issue 26. Read that. And that's how people get into comic books, because it's, episodic storytelling. WWE does episodic storytelling, and they show, hey, this is what happened earlier. If you were busy, you were watching a football game, you missed this part, you were doing something else, you were cooking dinner, putting the kids to bed, whatever. This is what happened earlier in the night. It's aggravating to people who already sat through it, but it's good for people who are waiting. That's being casual friendly. AEW is not casual friendly. They do not show a lot of replays. They build storylines that are sometimes 5 or 10 years old. That's the thing about when WWE doesn't always go back into history and they say nobody remembers, which is, I guess a Kevin Dunn thing that, kind of leaked out into the world. Like, nobody's paying attention to this stuff. Nobody cares about anything that's over a year old. And it's because they cater to new audiences constantly trying to make the new audience or new people or whoever is watching this stuff for the first time ingratiate them into the universe, constantly holding their hand through the universe. This is why they constantly explain the rules to triple threat matches, the rules to fatal four ways, why they keep telling you the rules of the Royal Rumble every year. It's like, I don't need to know the rules of the Royal Rumble every year, man. I've been watching this since 1992. It's like, but yeah, there's some kid who's watching for the first time who doesn't know what the fuck the Royal Rumble is. Shut up, deal with it for 10 seconds, and let's move the fuck on. And yes, it does get stupid when they keep telling you how to win the Money in the Bank match over and over and over again. It does get stupid. But guess what? People understand it, and they've been doing it for a long time. When I was a kid, they constantly explained how to win the Royal Rumble match. Got to be over the top rope, got to be both feet touching the floor. It's like religion, right? They keep beating you over the head with it till you understand what the rules are. This is the rules to the fucking match. Over and over and over and over and over again. But it also brings along the new readers, the new listeners, the new watchers. And if you can do that, you create casual fans because they at least know the rules. You bringing them into something and they know the rules. A football game, they don't necessarily tell you the rules to the football game. They expect you to know. If you watch football, some people are like, all right, what's holding? What is pass interference? And you see some people say, hardcore football fans who watch every game still don't recognize holding or pass interference when they see it. And I was one of them. Like when I was a kid, I couldn't tell you face mask, yeah. But then you'll see some people do, the Heisman, and technically you're grabbing the face mask, but they wouldn't call face mask. You'd be like, oh, okay, whatever. But football is also very casual friendly because they have ESPN to explain things for you. What's going on here? What is this? What is that? AEW is not casual friendly. So to say there is no casual audience, that's false. There is a tremendous casual audience out there. And no, they don't watch every week. But when you hear about, the Facebook numbers or the Instagram numbers or the TikTok numbers that WWE is putting up, that means somebody is watching those videos and sharing them. Like they talked about it on the Q3 call that Brock Lesnar, his return got 4.5 million views on Instagram. Twice as many, 2 to 3 times as many people watched that than watched Raw. How did that occur if there are no hardcore fans? If there are no casual fans, how did that occur? How can they reach further on things like TikTok than they can on TV if there is no casual audience? You can't say that. You can only say we having a difficult time reaching the casual audience. Maybe we need to do something different. How about maybe introducing guys in a way where the fans can understand what's going on? Tony Khan is throwing money around to get licensed music. How about throwing some money around to bring in clips? If you want to bring in Kevin Steen, okay, cool. Here's what you do. You go to Ring of Honor and you say, Ring of Honor, we can't use any of his Kevin Owens stuff. That's WWE. But we're willing to give you X amount of dollars. We're going to put together a Kevin Steen best of vignette. And we're going to put these vignettes 5 or 6 weeks in a row of all of the stuff he did before he went to WWE, because that's what he's going to be doing on our show. It's all the stuff he did before he went to WWE. And you license that. And then you create that stuff. You show him with the Young Bucks. You show him with Adam Cole. You showed him, go to PWG and license some of their material. You tell people, catch them up with what they've been doing. That's how you would do it if you were trying to create new fans. If you were trying to build new audiences off of things that are really, really old, you would license that material you were bringing in. WWE does it for documentaries. Why not? You're already spending money. Like it's, like it doesn't mean anything. So spend the money wisely. Spend the money educating your audience on who these guys are and where they come from. If they talk about how friendly they are with all the independents. If you brought in a guy like Lee Moriarty, he's got 100,000 matches on YouTube. Instead of telling people, go watch his matches on YouTube. No, just go and spend a couple of bucks to put together a video package and say, this is Lee Moriarty. He'll be here and yada, yada, yada. And put a package together, all his highlights. And it's 30 seconds. It's 40 seconds. What's the problem? That should educate people that the guy is pretty good. Look at this. These are his best submission holds. This is his best high flying stuff. And he's going to be here live. That's not rocket science. That's how you bring in casuals. If I don't know who this guy is, and you just tell me he wrestled in All Japan 2 years ago, what if I don't watch that shit? I don't know. You have to assume I've never seen this guy before. And WWE does that. And yes, it's spitting in the face of the hardcore fans. So what? They're assuming that the average person does not know who this guy is. Right? So they're going to tell you over and over again who he is. They may show clips of him. They do it for NXT call-ups. Again, they look at the difference between NXT and Raw, NXT and SmackDown. If you look at those numbers, fewer people watch NXT than watch Raw or SmackDown. So yes, they need to reintroduce these characters. They usually do so through vignettes. But that also gives them the opening to change whatever they want to change because they know you don't know who they are. So nobody knows that Keith Lee was, double champion in NXT and all that kind of stuff, because because the Raw audience and the NXT audience doesn't necessarily cross over. And yes, that sucks, but those are the facts. And that's how you connect with a casual audience. You look at you take into the fact that the casual audience is ignorant. They're ignorant and they're naive. But if they're interested, you plant some bait there and say, here's this guy, here's this storyline, here's this thing. I'll catch you up. I'll grab your hand and walk you through this. And until people do that, they'll never grow. And I don't just mean they need to get big, strong boys and guys who are over 6 feet. I mean, I yell about that every Wednesday. I'm talking about simple things they can do every Thursday, really. Well, yeah, Wednesday, because I record my my reviews after the show. It's not just get guys who are 6 feet and muscly and, with charisma. That's not the only thing. To be more casual friendly, you have to also keep reminding people of what's going on. You have to keep reminding people of what's going on. Keep showing them highlights. Keep them in rotation of, these guys, their characters, and what they've been doing, what they've been up to. This is the part that WWE even screws up now, because sometimes they'll bring a guy up and they won't even mention them. They won't talk about them. They don't show any vignettes. They used to do really cool stuff, like guys like Ted DiBiase and Mr. Perfect and Ricky Steamboat. How massively over they was able to get by you introducing them through vignettes, and not wrestling vignettes either, but like out of character. Razor Ramon at the restaurant throwing all the stuff off the table, introducing the character, introducing the man. That's the stuff that wrestling used to do that connects with casuals, and it's fun. You see this guy draped in gold. He's got this hairy chest, hair is greasy. He's talking in this bad accent, and he's saying cool stuff. He's doing funny stuff. And you're like, I kind of want to see this guy. And then they tell you he's going to be here in 2 weeks. And you're like, okay, am I going to watch this guy in 2 weeks? Now, you may say I may not remember. But now you got Twitter and TikTok and everything where they can continue to push that shit in your face. It should be easier than ever to make new stars. But, WWE don't even do that anymore. So it's difficult, but I don't think CM Punk is correct that there is no more hardcore audience. He's wrong. He is absolutely wrong. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. And I'll talk to you guys later.